Hello, my name is John Garcia. I am a marketing and advertising business coach for UpLevel Living. We're based in South Florida, and I'm really excited today to introduce a new project we're going to be working on. And before I tell you the details of the project, I just want to give you a little bit of background into how we got here. I've been in advertising marketing for over 20 years, starting in New York City, as a sales assistant at a Fortune 500 agency. Since then, I've worked at boutique ad agencies. I've worked at media companies. I've also worked directly with the clients, handling all of the marketing and advertising. And this is the question that comes up all the time. What is the most effective way to acquire local customers? And the answer has really always been the same. The number one answer has always been word of mouth, right? And here's a survey: 7,500 small business owners were surveyed, and 85% said word of mouth referrals over traditional advertising and even modern advertising with Google and Facebook. So I get that. We understand that's the most important thing. But then I would ask a follow-up question, and a lot of times I would get kind of like a deer in the headlight looks, and that's the question is, what's your word of mouth strategy, right? If word of mouth is so important to you, what's the strategy? What are the tactics? And that's where I would get a lot of blank stares. And some of the better businesses owners and the ones that have been around longer, and congratulations to all of those of you who have, you're obviously doing something very special in this space. And maybe it's great customer service. You really just excel at customer service. You actually do raise the bar. And again, kudos to you if you do that. But I think great customer service is something that customers expect, right? That's the reason we do business with you. You're going to provide great customer service. So that's one thing. Another thing I hear often is that we are unique. We have a unique product or service, and that's great. But let me tell you, in this world, there's always someone either right behind you or innovating to get in front of you every single day. So being unique is an ever evolving thing. And then some people that have been around a long time, would just say, well, we just have a lot of customers that we've known a long time. It's our reputation, and that's great. But the world keeps changing. If we don't keep adding people to the top of the funnel, sooner or later you won't have anything left there. So the reputation is great, but is it still relevant, and is it still going in the right direction? The world has changed, right? So it used to be where word of mouth was a one-on-one conversation, something you had with your friend at work or maybe over, the dinner table with your family. Now it's one to many, and it could be good or bad. I mean, right? We see, someone make a complaint on Facebook, and all of a sudden it's addressed because we're speaking to a lot of people. We're not speaking to one or two people anymore. At minimum, the average person on Facebook has about 300 friends. So it's one to many. That's been a major shift. Another major shift is obviously brick and mortar retail to e-com. If you don't get this right, many established companies are going out of business or calling Chapter 11 because they haven't been able to get this right. Um, and another big shift, including retail becoming e-com, is how people are sharing this information. So again, what used to be water cooler talk is now user-generated content. It's testimonials, it's reviews, it's shareable incentives and loyalty programs. And if you're not sure what this is, we're going to make sure that ends today, and that ends with this project. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the project now. But before I do that, one thing that hasn't changed is the impact of word of mouth, right? We know 85% of business owners recognize it as the number one way to acquire new talent, new clients. We also know that about 80% of local business customers come from a 5-mile radius. 62% of consumers are researching online before they're buying or even going out to buy. 92% believe brand recommendations from friends. So that's still the most impactful, bit of advice before someone makes a purchasing decision. 4 times more likely to buy when referred by friends. 2 times the sales over paid advertising. And still, even with paid advertising, 75% of people don't believe in the ads that they see, right? And that's not, I'm not trying to convince you on that. So yet and still, so many business owners lack a word of mouth strategy. And why is it? Well, these three themes kind of keep coming up as I speak to small business owners. One is a lack of structure, or there's just too much work, and it's not a nice, easy copy and paste system that's out there. And so it's just difficult to integrate, to launch, and to maintain. Another reason is just the lack of ideas, beyond, giving someone a punch card or giving someone a coupon for referring somebody. don't have a lot of ideas in this space. And then finally, of course, there's a lack of experience because business owners are worried running their business and they're not marketers. And, they may not put the focus on this because they just really think it's up to the customer. They just really leave it up to whatever the customer says. And there's no strategy or tactics to drive it. Let me show you here a man who definitely believes that he needs to drive it, and that's Abe Dababneh from the Smoke Inn. It's a cigar shop here in South Florida. He started in '96 with one store in Port St. Lucie, Florida. He now has 10 locations throughout South Florida. He just recently launched a Cigar of the Month club that was so successful he had to shut it down, and he did that purposely because he wanted to make sure he could manage the amount of business as it was coming in. So I think when it got to 100, he shut it down, first 100 people, and then he's been opening it up more and more, and it's just taking off like wildfire. He before that, so this is recently. Before that, he still does. He has a weekly email discounted cigar sampler. So here's an email every week with a sampler, and it's discounted, that links you to the website to place the order. He has an event called the Great Smoke. It's by far the biggest cigar event in Florida. It may be even, regionally. It's growing statewide or countrywide, even, battling some of the larger events in Vegas. Bottom line is thousands of people are going. They're spending a minimum of $150 per ticket, and it's just an amazing event. It's in its 10th year. I go every year. He has beautiful stores. He's really, focused on details. It's immaculate. It's clean. They offer tremendous, product assortment. The customer service is amazing. You walk into any store and they say hi to you as soon as you walk in. He also hosts his own podcast called Kiss My Ash, and it is all about the cigar industry. And he has, different guests each week from the cigar industry and manufacturers, retailers, what have you. I mean, it's an amazing resource that he's created that draws obviously a lot of attention to himself. He also has an online loyalty program. I mean, he has an influencer program. I mean, the guy is just amazing. And when I ask him how is he doing all this, what's the difference between him and these other cigar companies, and he tells me, John, I don't sell cigars. I sell an experience. And he means it from the bottom of his heart. When he says he sells an experience, it's camaraderie. It's, it is great pricing and it is great customer service, but it's also the events and in the stores, all these different events and with the podcast and with the emails, there's really a community on Facebook that he's developed, and he's creating word of mouth and what we're calling talk triggers at every point, at every corner. And that's what this project is about. So we want to hear from businesses all throughout the country. We want to know what strategy and tactics you've taken that have dramatically increased your word of mouth. All right. So not just what you're doing, but also what you're asking your customers to do to spread this word of mouth. So we're going to put it all together in this beautiful book called The Top 100 Talk Triggers. And obviously you're going to have something that in this book that has, been successful and really helped you grow your business. And you're going to definitely also be reading other businesses that have done the same in different categories. So we want service businesses. We want business to business and B2C. We want all different types because we want this to ultimately be a resource for small business owners to be able to get it and to pick something and implement it and start it immediately. And we also want to look for things that are grassroots, that don't necessarily need a lot of money. And usually with word of mouth and talk triggers, when they're done correctly, that's probably the best part about it, is that you don't usually have to spend a lot of money on them. Now, you could supplement them by putting this word of mouth strategy or tactic in your advertising. But the point of it is really a grassroots, something that, really is engaging and compels consumers to talk about you. So here it is. Tell us your story. Visit uplevelliving.com/talk. You're going to register there. Excuse me. Then you'll receive an email from us with a small survey, a couple of questions, and a way to submit your talk trigger. We want to know what you're doing, what your customers are doing to spread this word of mouth, and then what kind of results you're seeing from it. We're going to pick the top 100. We'll obviously keep you posted throughout the process, but we want submissions, right away. Please enter your submission. Deadline will be by March 31st, and then we'll take another month or a couple months. Actually, by the end of May, we want to have all of the top 100 chosen. So for your efforts, we definitely want to thank you. We want to offer the top 10 an award. I mean, we're going to announce it. We're going to be doing quite a bit of marketing and press releases ourselves in the community. Obviously, publishing the book, hopefully being in Barnes and Nobles and Amazon and all those kind of places, which will obviously get exposure for your company. But the top 10 will get a nice award. We don't yet know yet what it's going to be, but it'll be something cool. And we'll definitely also going to give 100 copies to each of the top 10. For anyone that gets in the book, you'll get 10 copies of it as well. And for anyone who even writes a submission, we'll give you a link so you can order the book at cost. We just want this to be a resource in the hands of small business owners, because this shift is happening. This online is real, and e-com, and if it offends anybody, I'm sorry, but Amazon is taking over everything. And if we're going to survive as small business owners and really provide a service to our community, we need to get back, to these roots of word of mouth, and really leverage what has become just much more powerful tool than you had in the past. So again, my name is John Garcia. I'm the author. I'm a health and business coach for UpLevel Living. We're working with Jeff Denetz. He's the president of Lifestyle Media. They'll be taking care of all the publishing aspects of the book. And on our team is also Austin Titus. He's the president of Network Lead Exchange, a franchise of the United Franchise Group here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Austin is just super, dedicated to the small business community, business owners, franchisors, and he's just a tremendous asset to have on this team. So that's all. If you have any questions, it's John at UpLevel Living. Again, the page to submit your talk trigger is going to be uplevelliving.com/talk. We're looking forward to seeing your story, and we hope it will be published in the upcoming book, the top 100 talk triggers. John Garcia, thanks again. Bye-bye.